there are certain topics that are a little bit tricky to talk about because people don't want to hear this. But in today's video, I'm actually going to touch one of those subjects, and that is modesty. And the reason I wanted to go there is because I think it's something that is extremely important, and we just don't really see the reason why. So I want to talk to you about what is modesty, why is it important, and why it actually is part of our responsibility towards men in general to dress more modest. So let's dive right in. Hey, and welcome to today's video. Now, for those that don't know me yet, let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Stephanie. I'm a wife and I'm a mother to 3 amazing children, and I've been a homemaker for over 13 years now. So I love sharing on this channel about that journey and what I've learned along the way about motherhood, about being a wife, and about being a homemaker. So if you are interested in biblical homemaking, this is the channel for you. So feel free to subscribe and let's dive into modesty today. Now, before we dive into why modesty is very important, I actually wanted to look at the dictionary and see what does the dictionary actually say about what modesty is. Now, there are obviously a couple of definitions for modesty because you can put it in different contexts. But when it comes to clothing and dressing in general, this is what the dictionary says. Modesty is the quality in women of dressing or behaving in a way that is intended to avoid attracting sexual interest. Now, when we look at this definition, it's actually pretty clear what it means. It just means that whatever we wear, it should not actually attract sexual interest. And let's be honest, that has not been the way in the last couple of years. There is more cleavage that is shown than we need to see. Women wear mini skirts where if they bend over, you see more than you want to see, and it's just been crazy. We have seen so much skin that we shouldn't have to see. Now, this type of clothing is actually made to attract sexual interest, and whether you want to or not, that is just what happens. That is what happens when men see women that are dressed very scarcely, because men are just wired very, very differently than women, and that is just part of how God made us. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to keep that in mind. But before we talk about the difference between men and women, let's talk about the importance of modesty first. Now, there are many reasons why it's important to wear modest clothing, but I really wanted to look at a couple of Bible verses or Bible passages to really show you why it's important. Now, the first one is in Proverbs 31, because we can learn so much from the Proverbs 31 woman. Now, in Proverbs 31, verse 23, it says that her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. And when I think about this woman, I just immediately start to think about, okay, what does she look like? How does she dress? How does she act in general? And I just cannot think about a woman wearing mini skirts and crop tops being a part of a man who's respected at the city gate. I don't think that is what is meant here. And if we want our husband to be respected, we need to dress accordingly. And again, that doesn't mean that we need to cover everything up. It just means that we show respect to him by also saving the parts that are for him, just for him, if you know what I mean. So we don't want to show off our entire body because that is meant for our husband. And out of respect, that is what you do. We only show parts of our body that are meant for our husband to our husband, which is a form of respect. That is one of the verses from Proverbs 31. And the other one is Proverbs 31, verse 25, where it actually says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. Now, even though I believe that these words are talking about her behavior and have a more spiritual meaning as well, I do believe that the word dignity is an important one to point out here, because dignity means that you have a sense of style and that you're worthy of respect. And again, like I said with the last point, if you wear mini skirts and crop tops, that doesn't really show you that you're worthy of respect. So make sure that the way you dress is actually showing dignity and is showing that you deserve respect. Now, the third thing that I wanted to point out is that in Titus 2, verse 3-5, which I've mentioned a couple times before, but it actually talks about how the older women need to set an example for the younger women. The older women are the ones that are going to teach our younger women how to behave, how to love their husbands, how to be good homemakers, and all the things that are mentioned in there. And I really want to point out that being a good example and setting a good example also is something that we do in the way we dress and the way we act. So what example are you giving your daughter or other women and men in church when you show off your entire body more as a billboard than showing them that your body is the holy temple of the Holy Spirit and it's actually a body that your husband can enjoy instead of everybody else? I don't think that shows modesty very well. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention is actually our responsibility towards men. And I put this last because this is one that I actually wanted to dive a bit deeper into, because this is one that you will hear a lot when you talk about modesty. And it mostly comes from women, to be honest. They will say, well, if they don't want to see this, then they can just look away. Or if he has a problem with lust, then that is his problem, not mine. I don't have to do anything about myself in order to help him control his problem. And the first thing that comes to mind is, are we really such a selfish generation? Because if the only thing we can think about is, I want to wear this, and if he doesn't want to see this, then that's his problem, then there's something wrong with our selfishness and our self-centeredness. So that is the first thing that comes to mind for me. But I really wanted to show you the differences between men and women and how we are actually responsible for helping our husbands. Because in the Bible, it says that Adam needed a helper, and that was Eve. So we as women are meant to be the helpers of our husbands. And this is one of the ways that we can do this. So let me share 2 reasons why I think it's part of our responsibility to keep our men pure and how we have a part to play in it. Because yes, it's not only our responsibility, but as women, we can do way better than we've been doing right now. And the first thing is, men are just more visual than women. So when we see a woman walking by and she wears a mini skirt, us women will probably think, oh, that's a cute skirt. And that's it. That is all we think. We just think it's a cute skirt or a cute pattern or she has nice boots. We don't see anything else. When a man sees a woman walking down in a mini skirt, he will think, nice legs, or that is a cute bum. Or maybe he will even go any further and say, what is underneath that skirt? And that is something that, yes, they can still think when you wear modest clothing. Obviously, when you are covered from head to toe, they can still think what is underneath that. But having something that shows just a little bit more than they should see, it will actually pique their interest, and that will actually get them into that mindset way quicker. So if we make sure that they don't have many reasons to think that, then it's a lot easier for them. And it shows us that we respect our men and other men in general, but it also helps us to show respect to our husband. Because like I said, my body is just for my husband. Nobody else needs to see this body. It's just for him. And so I want to respect him in that way and also make sure that nobody else sees my body except him. So it shows respect to both the men walking around in town who will see more of your body than they should and will actually trickle them into impure thoughts. But it also shows respect to your own husband because you let him know that this body is only for you. Now, the last reason is actually it is extremely easy for men in this technology-driven world to go into lust and to see more things than they should see. So if they see a woman walking down the street in something that shows more than they need to, it actually will get them into that sexual mode, so to speak, and it can actually send them down the track of coming home and looking at things that they shouldn't look at. So it can actually start with us walking around in stuff that are not modest. So when you get dressed in the morning, I really want you to think about, okay, what message am I sending with this outfit? And if it actually shows more of your body than it should, then really think about, okay, why am I actually doing this? Do I have to do this? And can I dress something that makes it a little more modest? Because a lot of times you can still wear something that you like. You can just add a little top to it, or maybe you can add sleeves to your shirt. Whatever it is, you can usually make it more modest by adding an extra layer. So when I have a skirt that I think is a little too short, I will just wear leggings underneath it to make sure that it doesn't actually show too much. So make sure that you actually think about, what am I wearing and what message does it send? So when it comes to how do you have to dress, that is very personal, obviously. I'm not going to tell you that you have to wear a dress because that is not what I think is important. What I want you to keep in mind is what message am I sending? And a few guidelines that I actually keep up with is, first of all, I don't show any cleavage. So I will also always wear a top underneath just to make sure that I don't show anything that I shouldn't be showing. I do not ever show my belly. So you will never see me in a crop top. And if I have something that could be a little bit shorter, I will always cover that up. And because I'm always wearing a top, you will never see my belly anyway. And that actually includes swimwear. I really don't feel comfortable in a bikini anymore, in a two-piece suit. So I don't ever swim, so I never really wear it anyway. But the next time I will go swimming, I will actually purchase a one-piece because I just don't want to show anything that I shouldn't be showing. Now the next one is actually I don't wear any short skirts or jeans, and what my rule, so to speak, is in my head, and that is again very personal, but for me it's just a little bit above the knee is fine. Anything under that is great. Anything that goes above it is I will either wear a legging underneath or I'll just get rid of it. And honestly, I don't really have anything like it. I have a dress that goes a little further than I want to. It's not a mini skirt in any way. It still goes just above the knee, but I will still wear a legging underneath just to make sure that it's not too short. And the last one is extremely obvious, but that is nothing see-through. I will never wear something where you can look through. So if it's a skirt actually that has a little bit of a see-through element in it, I will add an extra layer. So I will add another skirt to it, or I will wear a biker short, for example. So something just to make sure that I cover everything up. Well, I could go on and on about this topic because I just think it's extremely important, but I think you get the point by now. So I will leave it at that. And I'm actually very curious about how you dress, and do you think you wear modestly? And what is something that you think is also important when it comes to being modest as a woman? I would love to hear from you, so let me know down below, and I would love to see you in my next video.